Moments in our life, I think, help us to see things a little bit more clearly. And especially when they're really significant moments. And one of those moments that I see in your story is in 2012, where I think you're 42 years old at the time, and your manager and friend, Chris, dies.
Rest in peace to Chris. Chris was all that I knew. Everything that I learned after Chuck D and Hank Shockley and them, I learned it with Chris. I learned how to make my money with Chris. My tax brackets changed with Chris. My lawyers changed because Chris. My booking agents changed with Chris. My touring experiences changed with Chris. My ability to tell my mother to quit her job and never had to look back to work for nobody from 1995 to this day. All of that, I did it with Chris.
That day when you find out that Chris is passed, can you take me to that day?
That day was so fucking terrible, bro.
You gonna talk about it too, man?
Wow. His life changed when this woman came into his life. I'm not gonna dive too much into that part, but I'm definitely gonna say that Chris's life changed not for the better when she came around. So, once that happened, it started to change the energy amongst the Violator family. And I really wish, because I don't want this to be heard in a way where it seemed like I'm shitting on the woman, because I'm not shitting on the woman. I'm acknowledging the reality of the situation. As you can see, I'm not saying nothing bad about the woman. I'm just talking about, I'm acknowledging a time period where a change transpired in a significant way, and it happened after this woman came around. That's it. Long story short, I think his daughter was coming home from college, and he had to go and meet her at Grand Central Station in Manhattan. So he asked me for a ride to Grand Central Station. And I give him the lift to Grand Central Station. And that's the last day that I saw him. The next morning, I get the call from his assistant that something happened to him. And I'm asking what happened to him. And they just said he hurt himself, but they didn't say, that he was dead. They just was like, he hurt himself. The assistant called this young lady, I forget her name, at the office. And when the young lady answered the phone, we're on the three-way. And she's crying and she's screaming on the phone. And she just kept saying, Chris hurt himself, Chris hurt himself. And the assistant is asking her, what exactly did he do to himself? And she said, she don't know. He just hurt himself. And then we asked if he was dead, and then she said she don't know. So when we got to Chris's home, we couldn't go in the house. And it wasn't until you saw the coroner van come. And when you saw the van, and then they reversed the van into the driveway to get us close to the door of the house. Because it was a downstairs door, and then there was the regular door to go up the stairs and you go in the house from the front. But whatever happened to him, it happened downstairs, because that's where his body was. And they went inside, and they brought them black bags with them, them body bags, and that's when it got real. That's when it changed. Everything changed when you saw the bags, and
I'm surprised he talking about this, bro.
you knew when they came out the basement with the bags, and his body was in the bags.
Fucked him up.
That's when you knew Chris was never coming back. So, the crying started, and a lot of arguing started. A lot of threats started. And my life was going in a whole nother direction after that. And I didn't like it, because I was confused about how to move. And I was lost for a minute, because I never really had to manage my career without a manager. And he wasn't just a manager, he was my brother. So it got scary for a minute. I couldn't get it together. That's why I didn't put out no record for 9 years.
Damn.
And
I don't even want to cut him off from talking, man, but terrible situation, bro. But there's such a positive point with this when you see a man the like of Busta Rhymes, big, boisterous, presence. You know what I mean? He doesn't come across as a weak, feeble individual at all. You know what I mean? And it's not many a times where you be able to see a man like this allow himself to be vulnerable and pretty much describe, I'm assuming, his weakest point he's ever experienced, bro. That's news to me. That's why he was gone from the rap game for so long, bro. I remember that, bro. And he shocked the world when he came back with that Touch It, right? But I just know that those that watch this, those men that watch it, especially right now, I mean, it's still November. It's the last day of like men's health awareness, bro. This video, at least this portion of the video, can do so much good for men struggling with anything, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, any of that, bro, right? Because you're gonna find that common ground, that commonality with yourself and someone like Busta, bro. I mean, he said he was lost, he didn't know what to do. He didn't go back to rapping for a decade, you know what I mean? So no one should be feeling bad about anything or how they're responding to darkness, you know what I mean? Responding to turmoil, responding to tragedy, responding to just everyday life, man. But you have to do something to get your ass up out of there. But I'm just saying, everybody goes through it to some extent, in some form or fashion. Everybody goes through it.
That's when we put out OT Genesis.
Yeah, bro, it's hitting them. It's hitting them.
We had some really good success with him. And signed a few other artists, this one artist by the name of Stove God Cooks. And
Fire.
Signed,
yeah,
another young artist by the name of Murder Mook. And
y'all signed Mook? I didn't know that.
I wasn't happy though with just doing it like that. And I didn't feel comfortable putting out music until I got the right support system in place, and I couldn't get it together.
When you say you couldn't get it together,
what does that mean?
What does that mean?
That means like
psychologically you couldn't get it together.
Psychologically, I couldn't get it together because I didn't feel like I had a support system that I could believe in enough to make me feel like I am psychologically able to move with the comfort, the confidence, and the support that I know I'm gonna need. And
yeah, Chris was all of that for him, huh? That was his safe space. You know what I mean? That's his. And then to lose all that, bro.
The responsibility of trying to wear all of the hats myself.
Yeah.
I was doing it, but I wasn't doing it at the level that Chris Lighty was able to do it.
Yeah.
And you were grieving at the same time.
Absolutely.
Still
because I
grieving.
lost my father 2 years after Chris. The two most important male figures in my life. Chris was gone 2012. I lost my father 2014.
And you had reconciled with him before.
I definitely reconciled with him before he passed. The problem is I didn't get to enjoy my time with him once we got good. So that was a horrible feeling too. Because it's like all of the time that was wasted fucking not getting along was stupid. Fucking stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's part of the reason why I started to really like get unhealthy and fucked up. I was trying everything to drown the pain and the frustration and the suffering of those losses by overworking, over drinking, over smoking weed and cigarettes. And it got so bad that I got to the weight of 340 pounds.
Damn.
I never been that. I'm not even built to be that heavy. It's funny. It's like I look back at certain pictures and I looked at how overweight I was. I look at my skin. Yeah, there's certain pictures I had. I had these like marks on my face. I hate those pictures. Like I see the darkness in those pictures, yo.
There's this book called The Body Holds the Score, but the title is just the thing that I've actually gained the most from. It just says that when there's things going on in our psychology and our mind, the body will show it.
Yeah, man.
We'll eat, we'll drink, we won't sleep, but you'll see it in the body before you see it in the mind. The mind is invisible, obviously.
Right.
The body is the first place to see it. And I was reading through that phase of your life, and you were on sort of breathing machines when you were sleeping and things like that.
Nah, I wasn't on the breathing machine. I had sleep apnea.
Oh, you had sleep apnea.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I had sleep apnea. I was
You drank yourself into a coma at one point?
I drank myself into, not a coma, I drank myself into an inability to wake myself up.
Oh, okay.
I had to be woken up by my son and my security in LA. It took like 45 minutes, and we had just come back from hanging out at a club called Poppy's. He sat me down the next day. He was like, listen, I don't want to hurt your feelings because you're my father. And I don't even know if I got the strength to say it to you now, but I had a conversation with the security. I need you to listen to them because I'm too scared to tell you how I feel. That's how bad it was. My son ain't never speak to me like that in my life, but I needed to hear it.
That shit just gave me
But he couldn't
chills,
even
bro.
say it to me because that's how much he still was trying to protect my feelings. But this is the first time that I knew I really disappointed my son. All that Busta Rhymes shit was cool up until this moment when he saw this shit. And he's been seeing it, but this is when it hits the low. That conversation fucked me up. The next day, the doctor's with the prednisone, and I went to the doctor. I'm breathing so fucked up that outside of the door, the doctor was like, yo, why are you breathing like that? And he wasn't even in the room with me. He's coming in the room.
Yeah, you saved
And
your
I said,
life,
breathing
bro.
like what? Because I was doing it for so long over the last 3 years that it was starting to sound normal to me. The doctor said, I'm sending you to the hospital because he stuck this shit in my throat. And when he saw how big the fucking polyps was, it blocked 90% of my breathing passage. He said, if he sends me home and I take a shower and the central air system is blowing and I catch a draft that can lead to me catching a cold, and that last 10% of my breathing gets blocked up because of a swollen gland from a sore throat or some shit, I can die in my sleep that night. He said, I've got to call an ambulance for you. I'm in California. LA, he says, I need you to go right now to UCLA Medical Center into the emergency room, and I'm going to call the head person at the hospital to have them admit you immediately. You need to go into surgery tomorrow.
Damn.
I said, I ain't going in no ambulance. He said, well, then you have to sign this document that will exemplify me. If you don't listen and something happens and you die between now and when you get to the hospital. I ain't never been spoken to like this in my life. This is when I knew this shit was crazy. My son now, I'm calling him, telling him to meet me at the hospital. We get to the hospital, and I'm in the doctor's office, and they doing all of the preliminary shit before they gotta admit me into the emergency. My son is talking to me, and he tells me, I thought you was gonna die last night. And I ain't never been this scared, Dad, but I'm scared you're gonna die. I lost Grandpa already. I can't lose you too. Can you please stop drinking? Can you please stop smoking? Can you please get back to the daddy that I know you to be? Finished me. At that point, I made up my mind. I'm gonna get this surgery. When I get this surgery, I'm going to get in shape. I go home. On the way home, Dexter Jackson, bodybuilder competitor, used to compete in the Olympia. He became a Mr. Olympia champ.
Oh, that makes sense. That's why Busta came all brolic like that when he was back rapping and shit. When he got them did that touch it. Was it right? Was that the video? Like his debut video after coming back since he was gone. And he was swole as fuck. That makes so much sense, bro. That's a crazy story, dog. I'm glad his damn son, doctor, saved his life.
This man pops up in my stories, driving in his car in Jacksonville, Florida, and he's spitting the vocals to Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Could See. And then I hit him in the DM, and I said, Mr. Jackson, I'm a huge fan of you as a professional bodybuilder. Is there any way that we could get on the phone? I need your help. He hits me back. He sends me his number. I call him on the phone. I said,
that's so hard.
Thanks for calling me. I salute you, Mr. Jackson. Can we please figure out a way to get me back in shape? That man said to me, you sure you ready, Bus? And I said, absolutely. He said, you got to come to Jacksonville and you got to stay here for 30 days. Tell your girl she can't come. Tell your kids you'll see them in 30 days. I need to put you through something for 30 days before we continue this journey.
That's hard.
You survive this 30 days.
That's
I
hard.
know you're serious.
That's hard. That's so hard, bro.
I rented a motherfucking mansion for like 7 bedrooms. I went and got a cameraman to document it. My meal prep chef, my masseuse, because I knew that workout was going to fuck me up every day and I needed somebody to rub these muscles up. I got my recording engineer, so I didn't need to leave the house.
That's so hard.
I got an assistant.
That's so hard.
And that was about it. Stayed in the fucking crib for 30 days. Lost about 27 pounds in 30 days. These dudes that I'm surrounded by way of my first bodybuilding competitor trainer, Victor Munoz, and my second primary trainer, the legendary Mr. Olympia himself, Dexter Jackson, I was able to get my shit together, bro. And once I got my health, and once I got my mind, and I got my spirit right, and I started to be proud of me, when I looked at me and my kids was looking at me and they would say shit that you could only hear once you did what you needed to do and put in the work you needed to put in so that it shows. They're not gonna say it if it don't look like the way they need to see it so they could say what they need to say. When that happened, you hearing the right shit, you feeling the right love, that shit was lifting my spirit so much.
Bruh. That's so hard, dog. That's so hard, bruh. You know, of course, Busta got away with words. He a whole rapper, man. But this dude can talk and just captivate you and then take you on that ride and look at the world through his eyes and going through his struggles and triumphs like that, bro. That's tough. You know, it's motivating me. It's definitely inspiring to me. Anybody should be able to tap into something from this conversation and then apply it home, man. That's like a movie. He just gave you a fucking movie. I don't even want to like minimize his experiences to compare it to a fucking fake ass movie, bro. That shit was hard, bro. That's a dope ass fucking dialogue. You know what I'm saying? That makes me want to pull up this goddamn video, bro, because when Busta came back, it was touchy, right?
And as we start again, we ringing the bell. When I come, I be doing it and doing it well. Then I be the
see that motherfucker's trap. That boy came back vicious. Yeah, that's tough. That boy came back with a vengeance. But I don't know if that's the video that I was thinking of. Well, regardless, man, dope ass interview. I wouldn't call it that interview, bro. Just dope, bro. Just dope, bro. Hope y'all enjoyed that, man. I'm out.